Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Today we're talking about what is there to do at Melbourne's Royal Children's Hospital. So guys, we were lucky enough to only have to spend 2 weeks at Melbourne's Royal Children's Hospital, but we know of families that have had to stay there for months and months and months. And that begs the question, what is there to do at Melbourne's Royal Children's Hospital? So guys, in today's video, we're going to give you our top 5 things to do at the hospital while you're staying there, while your child is recovering. So guys, coming at number 5 is the giant touchscreen game wall. So this thing here is like 4 tablets just stuck to the wall and you can play games on it and it's just massive. The time that we were there, every time we had to kind of wait in the lobby area on the ground floor, you're kind of just sitting around there and you're playing games or you're seeing other people playing games, and it's a good way to kill some time if you're just waiting around.
So coming in at number 4 is the Scholastic Children's Library. This library we didn't actually go into because our kid can't read, but it looked pretty cool.
You can look at the pictures. We just thought that this was really cool for a children's hospital to have a school library. There were a lot of kids in Koala Ward that were much older than our babies. It's a good idea for them to have somewhere to go, somewhere to read and stuff like that. So we thought that was a really good idea. Okay, number 3. So guys, coming in at number 3 is the Hoyt's Beanbag Cinema. So this cinema was actually in the hospital on the ground floor. So this cinema was playing new release movies on session times, and then you can just head in there, pull up a beanbag and then sit down and enjoy the movie.
While we were in Melbourne, it was school holidays, so they were pretty strict on the children attending being patients, preferably, before outside kids, I suppose. And they also have adults only sessions, which they were playing, you know, the newest release stuff at like 7:30 once a week for adults, which is fantastic. So coming in at number 2 is the aquarium. This thing is 2 stories tall. It is, isn't it?
Yes. It goes from ground to lower ground.
It has some pretty cool fish in there. There was one that had a really weird name.
I didn't read the names of the fish.
Oh no,
it was
like
massive.
the Melbourne locals who knew this fish had a name. It was a weird name. So if you know the name, hit us up in the comments below. There was a day where it was being cleaned. Guys in like scuba gear cleaning from the inside.
Yeah. Someone had to scuba down in there and clean inside the tank.
There was like 2 guys in there cleaning. It's insane.
Yeah. So when we were talking to one of our nurses, he was saying that there's only 5 of these kind of tanks in the world. At one of the other places where they had one of these tanks, the architects didn't take into consideration the weight of the glass, only the water and everything else. So the foundations and everything started to crack. So they actually had to empty out the tank and then put some extra support in, and they only refilled the tank 2 months before we got there. So I guess that was good timing, because I think every time Emily walked past that thing, she'd run up to her and just have a look for all the fishes and everything. And it was quite a good distraction. And the great thing about that is that as you walk in through the main entrance, it's just right there, and it's just one of those things, like a centerpiece, and it stands out, and it's very visually attractive.
It's like round, so it's nice.
We'll just go with that. Alright guys, coming in at number 1 And this is by far the most ridiculous thing that we've ever seen in a hospital. The hospital actually has its own meerkats. It actually took us a couple days to actually figure out and find the meerkats because they're
like in the
clinic?
the outpatient clinics. It's in those rooms, so it's a bit hidden. It's not like front and center like the aquarium.
Yeah. But I mean, like, the fact that the hospital have their own meerkats is a bit ridiculous. And it was definitely one of the highlights for us when we went out and just went on a mission looking for these guys. And we found them, and like Emily was just beside herself. She just couldn't get enough.
They are looked after by the Melbourne Zoo, which is really close by.
Yeah.
So you know they're well cared for. They're pretty cool. They're a great distraction for the children, and they seem to be the hospital mascot because you can buy a lot of merchandise.
Yeah, a lot of meerkat merch.
Yeah.
So other things that are notable to talk about the hospital, the food court that it has on the ground level. I mean, that was phenomenal for, you know, a hospital. Like,
A lot of variety. Like usually you just have cafeteria and that's about it. This place has like a McDonald's. It has a sushi place that does ramen. It had like a little
dumpling place.
cafe. It had dumplings. It had
Boost juice.
just a general Asian takeaway place that did like every Asian thing you can think of.
Not to mention it had, like, throughout the hospital, was it 3 or 4 cafes scattered around the place?
Yeah, I think 4 all up. And my favourite was only open Monday to Friday. It was closed on the weekend, which was so annoying because the other coffee just did not cut it. There's also a restaurant that's attached to the hotel, which is attached to the hospital, and that does really good food. We only really found that place towards the end of the trip.
Yeah, it was so devo when we were like, because each day we'd either go out for lunch or dinner and we'd meet up with family, and it was good just to get out of the hospital and just catch up with everyone. We'd be going out to bars and different restaurants.
You have to get like trams or taxis to get there.
But not only that, like, because you're in the centre of Melbourne, like, the prices were pretty expensive. We were paying the same amount of money for a really nice restaurant that was just downstairs.
Yeah.
So when we found that, we were just like, why didn't we find this place earlier?
So that place was Smith and Singleton, and it was really good. Melbourne, or Australians, are crazy about their chicken parmesanas. Me, unpopular opinion, don't really care for them, but they had a really good one. It like broke up all the pasta I was eating, so it was good.
Something else to note, that there's a gym at the hospital, and something that we didn't realise as heart parents, we could go to the gym for free. When you're just walking past and just looking at the rates and everything on there, it's like you got to pay per session, or...
Yeah, something like that. But we found out after we were back in Adelaide that we could actually get gym passes, which would have been pretty good, a nice little break. Not for me, I was like, you know, only 3 weeks post having babies, so that's not for me, but for Charles, just something that, you know, to kind of get out of.
Especially the nights that I was staying there, I had plenty to do just to keep me occupied, whether it was just watching stuff on my phone or working on the vlogs or anything else. But then also you need something else, like another distraction, just to break up your time when you're like literally living at the hospital.
So the hospital also has a massage parlour, which is pretty crazy. We didn't get to it, but it has all the rates clearly displayed at the front of it. It would have been nice, but we just really didn't have a lot of time. Even though we were doing a lot of waiting around, we were always very busy.
Yeah. If you were a family staying there for a longer period of time and you just wanted to treat yourself, you might have had a bad day, then that's something that you could definitely look at. Something else that was really good was it has its own supermarket. So for a family like us that was staying in the ward and, you know, you had to either buy or bring your own food, that's another cost-effective way just to have some snacks and some stuff just to get you through. It was really good. I mean, I don't know of too many hospitals that have supermarkets in there. That was really good.
The hospital also has a playground. bad. But outside of the grounds a bit is a nature playground. We didn't actually get to it because we didn't have great weather, but it's pretty cool. The hospital is pretty amazing. There's plenty to do. There's even a bank. So if you're looking to get a home loan, look at the Bank of Melbourne.
That is not like even on the top 10 things that you're thinking about. You think about when your child is recovering.
You're looking at taking out a personal loan. Maybe you want a holiday after all of the drama and trauma of having a very sick child. Go to the Bank of Melbourne. I don't know why you're doing your bank in there.
Not sponsored.
Well, obviously I said I don't know why you're doing that.
Alright. Something else that we used quite a bit when we were there for Emily was the Starlight Room. Now, this is just an area where kids can go and play, and they've got Starlight people that are there to entertain your kids. Now, in this little area, they've got like a little painting area. They've got like game consoles like along one wall. But then they've got like a story time area. But then all the staff are there just to, you know, entertain and interact and just play with your kids, which is really nice.
They've got a stage which Emily just kept getting on.
Oh, really?
And she just kept strutting her stuff, yeah. Centre of attention, our little one. But if anything, it might be a little bit better suited for older children. Emily, you know, was 1.5, and she probably, it's probably not ideal for her age. The one time I did go in there was, she had already been in there, and as I'm walking in, I see her running, and she had gone into the staff area, and you know, she's just running amok. There's not much in there for her age, I don't think.
So there's another little area called the Family Hub, and that's just a little area where, you know, you can just go to get away, I guess. I mean, it's got a little kitchen inside, it's got a little area for young toddlers to play with toys. There's got like a kind of lounge area where you can just sort of relax. And there's just a bit of everything in there just for families. And we didn't use it all that much because, you know, we were on the ward and we had our own room and everything like that. But I think for a family that's got an extended stay at the hospital, that would come in handy, especially if you've got family coming into town and, you know, if you don't want to just be cooped up in your room, you can just take them down to the Family Hub area and, you know, it's a little more open, a little more like friendly and inviting, not just cooped up in your room.
So some tips for parents who might find themselves staying at the Royal Children's Hospital.
So the hospital actually shuts down at around 8, and if you want to enter the hospital and see your child after that, you actually got to go through security. The entrance to security is at the emergency department, so you got to go in through emergency, wait at the security desk, and then you got to tell them who you're there to see, and then what they do is they'll buzz the ward clerk at that ward and just say, hey, is such and such staying here? And then they give you a 1-day only pass, and then that'll get you through the doors and up to the lift to that level where the ward is on. And that's just interesting to note because it's not something that we knew, and I guess we
found out the hard way on the first night because we had to exit through the car park. We didn't know that we couldn't get out normally.
Yeah, but not only that, with getting in, like the day of Max's surgery, we got into the hospital at 11:30 at night, and we just didn't know how to get in. And we're just like, okay, all the doors are locked. What are we gonna do? And then we just kind of just walked around and figured it out. But if you want to get into the hospital after hours, you got to go through security, and that's through the emergency entrance.
Breastfeeding mothers receive a free meal. I think it's breakfast, lunch and dinner, or it might just be lunch and dinner.
I think it's lunch and dinner.
They give you, they'll put your name on a list, and you have to actually go downstairs to basement level 2, and you're walking through like the backlands where the workers are. It doesn't look very inviting, but you are in the right place.
That's also the place where you drop your milk off.
Yes, so if you're pumping and storing for your baby, that's where they have a formula room. That's where you take it there yourself, and they will store it there for you. You have to sign it in, and it gets signed out when the nurses order it. As with most hospitals, they have pumping facilities on the koala ward and also in the Rosella ward. It was very different from Adelaide though. In Adelaide, it's very secure and locked up by the nurses, and you actually have to ask the nurses. Here, I guess because there's so many more parents and things, you've got a lot more control over it. Like you can access the fridge that has the breast milk and everything.
Yeah. Also, when you're staying on the ward, they encourage you to be more in control of like your baby's feeds and everything like that. And for me, I was able to head to the milk room, grab Max's milk, measure out what I wanted, warm it up, and then go back to the room and then just feed him myself. What we had in Adelaide was that I would get everything ready, then I'd buzz the nurse, and then she would get the specific meals of milk, warm it up for me, then bring it in. It just meant that I was in a little more control of feeding Max.
Yeah. I think it's important for parents to know that they're your babies. You've got a lot more control than you might think you do. They're happy for you to help. So, do the cares for your baby, do the nappy change, get the food, do the feeds if you feel comfortable doing it. I didn't feel comfortable doing the tube feeding. Charles did that and he did a great job. If we were going home, I would have learned, but I was pretty adamant that I was taking Max home as a breastfed baby, and fortunately it worked out in my favour. But the nurses are happy to help, and if you take, like Charles did everything, but then sometimes we'd want to go and get dinner, and they were more than happy to do everything while we're gone, because I think they appreciate that we're helping so much as well.
Yeah.
Speak to your ward clerk. They have all the information about parking. There are cheaper rates for you as a parent of a patient, and there's also options of staying in the hospital. We didn't really look into that too much because we had the Airbnb set up, but they do actually have rooms there that can be hired out. I know that they are in high demand though. Yeah,
I think with our situation, we had a lot of family flying in and out, so that just wasn't an option for us, and the Airbnb really suited our needs for what we had. So if you haven't already, check out our Airbnb video. So guys, we're going to call the video there. So if you're pregnant with twins, if you have twins, if you're a parent of a heart kid, or you're just interested to see what we have going on, look out for the upcoming videos. Better yet, subscribe and hit that notification bell. And thank you for making it to the end of the video, and we'll see you in the next one.
Doing stuff. I'm bringing my A game here. You're just phoning it in. So coming in at number 4 is the Scholastic. Don't look at me like that, I don't.
No, you said exactly the same thing to me about when I used to look at you. Anyway.
Coming in at number 4 is the Scholastic Children.
I'm not correcting. Go.
So coming in at number 4. Now I don't know what my hand is doing. So coming in at number 4 is the Scholastic Children's Library.
That's right. Stop the intro. I was going to do something cool, just like roll intro, and then do this, and then I'd have it like coming down in the edit.